This is Everyday Orthodox with your host, Elisa Bielatich-Davis. We get together on Sunday nights to meet everyday Orthodox Christians. We're hoping to get to know the members of the body of Christ across all of our various jurisdictions and regions. We may worship in various languages or even on different calendars, but we have so much in common. Come get to know someone new and see how they're living out this Orthodox faith in another corner of the world. After all, every person is an icon of Christ, and as we'll see, every person has a story to tell. If you have a question for tonight's guest, we invite you to call in and join the conversation at 1-855-237-2346. That's 1-855-AF-RADIO. Now, here's Elisa.
It is Sunday, February 25th, 2024, and we are live on Ancient Faith Radio. Welcome. I'm Elisa Bielatich-Davis, and this is Everyday Orthodox. We get together here on Sunday nights to get to know another everyday Orthodox Christian. You know, I love coffee hour. I love to sit down with somebody and just start asking them, well, where did you grow up? What have you been doing? People have the most interesting stories, and I think Orthodox people especially, because we come from many different places, right? We have immigrants coming in from various different faraway lands, and then their children who grow up here with interesting families and different sorts of stories, and then all kinds of converts. You know, we're coming in from all directions. So we have all sorts of people in the church, and I think it's really beautiful for us to get an opportunity to get to know one another, especially because, whenever there's talk of administrative unity, this problem of having so many overlapping jurisdictions in the United States. I think the unity that really matters is that we know one another and we love one another. And so we're working on that right here. So I'm glad that you could join us. And also with us tonight is Matushka Trudy Richter. She is our producer, and she's taking your calls. So if you want to join the conversation, you are welcome to do so. You can call us at 1-855-AF-RADIO. That's 1-855-237-2346. Talk to Matushka Trudy. She'll patch you right through. You can ask our guest a question and join the conversation. And I also want to let you know we are streaming live on YouTube. We are streaming live on Facebook Live. We are on the AFR app. We're on the Ancient Faith site. And all of these episodes are always archived. So if you miss us live, you can just tune in later to catch up with somebody new. So without any further ado, let me tell you about tonight's guest. His name is Father Eugen, or sometimes he goes by Basil, Father Basil Rosu. He's a Romanian priest, born in Romania, but here in the United States now. And he actually established a couple of OCA churches. If you've ever been to St. Andrew Church in Pittsburgh or to St. Stephen Church in Columbus, Ohio, he was there right at the beginning. He's studied very much. He's a very well-educated man, obviously in theology primarily, but he's presented at different conferences, and he's written a few books. One of my favorite actually is Every Life Tells a Story. It's an anthology that he put together from various different people, 33 different people's lives. And as you can imagine, that's close to my heart because that's kind of what we do right here on Everyday Orthodox, just talking to people and listening to their stories. So I love that. But he actually has a new book that I think you might be interested in, especially if you're someone who's in kind of a fledgling parish, a parish that's just starting out. He wrote something called Church Ministries on a Shoestring Budget. And, it is possible to do all kinds of wonderful, wonderful work without a budget. And I've been there, and it's hard, but Father's got some good advice for you if that's what you're doing. So we'll be talking to that as well, about that as well. Of course, he has a wonderful wife. He has a daughter, I believe, Gabriella and Anna Maria. She's in 6th grade. And they're in Flagstaff, Arizona, where Father serves Holy Cross Parish. So without any further ado, Father, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Elisa. And thank you for inviting me at your well-established podcast and with audience in the whole country. And I understand that you're broadcasting this even outside through YouTube, so that is available to many viewers and listeners. I was born in Romania, in the city of near the city of Iași, in Romania, where the relics of Saint Parascheva were, as they are known by especially among the Serbians. Saint Petka are rested there for the last 300 and some years. And every year on October 14, there is a big pilgrimage there, and hundreds of thousands of people are coming from all over the area. And they make the time. I was there in 2004 with a group of pilgrims from the Romanian diocese here in the United States to visit the relics of Saint Paraskeva and venerate them, because Saint Paraskeva is the patron saint for the women's organization in the Romanian diocese. So it was a great occasion to see how many people come, and there was a group from Poland, there was a group from Ukraine, there was a group from Bulgaria, from Serbia, everybody singing their own religious songs in their own language, and people from the city offering hot tea and sometimes sandwiches and so forth. So it was not just a pilgrimage, but a connection of brothers and sisters in Christ, celebrating a wonderful expression of faith. So I grew up in a large city. At the time, Iași was the second largest city in Romania, and I was blessed to have a wonderful priest who mentored me and guided me. And one of them actually is featured in my book, Every Life Tells a Story. And his name is Father Vasile. Have same name, Vasile, and he was someone who inspired me.
That's your ordained name?
I'm sorry, can I hear you?
Oh, no, that's all right. Then keep talking.
He inspired me with a way of understanding the scripture. Very powerful. We were in the 9th grade. I was in the 9th grade, and someone in the class asked the teacher of Romanian language, what is this? The communist publication came up with a small brochure about the beauty of communism and so forth, and he said the author used some verses from the Bible just to make the point, but sometimes just snippets, 2-3 words out of the whole verse or the whole context. One of my classmates asked, "What about this book and the claim that has about the Bible?" In the ninth grade, we studied the Romanian literature, which is the old Romanian literature, which everything is basically church literature, from liturgicons and Bibles and New Testament and catechism and so forth. So when for the first time I saw that teacher angry. He turned around and with his face all red and said, "If you really want to know what the Bible say, you go and read the Bible." So I found the Bible in my grandparents' attic, and I started reading in the summertime. And like all beginners, I started with Genesis, and nothing made sense.
Right. So, everyone thinks start at the beginning, right? But don't start at the beginning.
I cannot hear you.
Yeah, Father still can't hear me, guys.
And so I asked him to guide me, and he guided me to how to start reading the Bible. And reading the Bible with him, it was easier because he explained to me what everything meant and so forth. He gave me 3 books. One was the Act of the Martyrs, and 2 books were the Apostolic Fathers in 2 volumes. And they are very, very helpful, very easy to understand. And then I was encouraged to read more. and so that came as an easy way to understand the life of the church, even though I grew up in the church and so forth. So that was my initiation, and I entered the School of Theology. There were two schools of theology at the time in Romania. I entered the School of Theology in Sibiu, somewhere in the middle of the country, and I graduated in 1990, and got married and immigrated to the United States. And we came here in, I think, 2-3 days before Christmas of 90. And in February, I met Archbishop Nathaniel from the Romanian Diocese in Los Angeles, California, and he asked me what my intentions are. I said, "Well, if you need a priest, I'm ready." So that summer, in August, I was ordained deacon at Holy Dormition Monastery in Rive Junction, Michigan. And then priest, I was ordained at the Holy Trinity Church in Los Angeles, in the Romanian Diocese. So I served, my first parish was in Palm Springs. And from there, we went to Elwood City, Pennsylvania, the parish, not the monastery. They're in the same locality, yeah.
Very fancy.
And while in Elwood City, I traveled to Pittsburgh for about an hour and a half on Saturdays to organize a parish and establish the parish there. I started like everyone without any kind of guidance. I started with the phone book. Now, for millennials, phone books are extinct. They are almost part of the dinosaur era. So the white pages of Pittsburgh, and I looked for Romanian names, and I found some. I called, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, and 2 of them called me back, and they told me what synagogue they attend. So that was the dead end for me at the time. And until someone visited the monastery, and I met him there, and he connected me with several families, and so we started the parish. And from August 15 of 95 until February of 2002. I was the parish priest for St. Andrew in Pittsburgh, the parish that I founded. And then I was transferred to Holy Cross in Warren, Ohio. And while there, I established St. Stephen Church in Columbus. Unfortunately, St. Stephen no longer exists, but it was easier for me to establish St. Stephen because I knew all the to-dos and not to-dos from the previous experience. And it was a great experience. And while I was in Warren, Ohio, I completed 5 units of clinical pastoral education, one at Akron General and a full year of work at Cleveland Clinic. And it was for the first time in my life when I was able to use orthodoxy outside of the Orthodox context, and it was a blessing. Okay, I will explain it. I saw your facial expression. To use the prayers for healing, the healing prayer, the prayers for the sick, for instance. So that was one thing, to use them outside of Orthodox environment to people who were not Orthodox. And I adjusted them even for Muslims. There were 2 Muslims who asked me to pray for them. So I adjusted the prayers for them. It was something that I discovered Orthodoxy for my own benefit. And it was a wonderful experience because while I learned about my own faith, I was able to let others know about orthodoxy. And so that was part of the of my learning as a chaplain in a hospital. And since 2017, we moved to Arizona. We live in Chandler, and I travel every weekend to Flagstaff, to the Holy Cross Parish. Since for I don't know how many years now, I've been in Greek Archdiocese, and while I was working on my dissertation, I worked at a hospital, at one of the hospitals here in Arizona, and I learned something that was early in my life as a chaplain. That every time I asked a patient a question, "How are you?" the patient would say either fine or okay, and somehow the discussion came to an abrupt end. Yeah. And I had to come up with a different question to keep the conversation rolling, so to speak. Yeah. So the question that I came up was, "What's your story?" Oh. So when I asked this question, many would look at me a little, "You want to know my story? Really?" Others would just start talking. But the most interesting life stories came from the ones who actually questioned my question, so to speak. Oh. Do you really want to know my story? Really? Do you want to hear me? So yeah, I'm sure. And so we had this immediate interaction. The relationship changed its values, because I was no longer the chaplain or an official of the hospital entering the room and asking the patient how things are. I was a friend, long-time friend that, "What's your story? I haven't heard from you in a long time." That kind of environment. So the dynamic changed immediately. And so I've heard a lot of interesting stories. Some of them are not in the book. No, some are under different names, but the ministry of listening, the time of being present for someone who doesn't really have the time to talk about the real issues, because let's say the medical issues are, everybody knows, there are blood tests, there are all sorts of tests that the medical team is doing, and usually the doctors don't have the time to chit-chat with the patients. "How are you? I have the results, and here's what it is, and this is what we're going to do. Do you have any question? Ask the nurse." And goodbye. Yep. And this is the end of the story. And I'm not saying this that the doctors do not care. It's just the nature of their work. They have so many patients to see, and then they have to do whatever they have to do in the operating room or somewhere else, or in the treatment room. And again, the nurses have so many patients. Not that the chaplains have only one patient, not at all. But making the time for the patient to tell the story that is behind the tests, behind the symptoms, the feelings of the medical encounter. So I made the time, and most of them were appreciative of that, because it was for the first time when someone actually sat to listen to their story. Someone said, "Well, I cannot talk with my wife because she's telling me, well, deal with it." Where my kids don't say, "Well, you're an adult, we don't have to listen to you." And so he had some kind of resistance, or a little bias on psychology. So he didn't want to even entertain the thought of going to a psychologist. So for him, it was that I don't need to go there. I don't need a treatment. I need just someone to listen to me. So that was part of the ministry, and I think it's part of the ministry for everything in our parishes as well. Confession is let's say the last resort, so to speak. But we can. I'm not saying just the laity have to speak with the priest. I have to speak with the priest, just to speak, just to share the things that are in my life. And once we do that, I think we become better. We become more understanding of our own surroundings and our own spiritual growth, our own journey, if we are on the right track or if we are sideways, we're walking on the side of the road, we're lost in the desert. I know not everybody lives in the desert, but anyway. But here in the desert, you cannot get lost because there are trails everywhere.
Father's literally in Arizona, so he experiences the desert all the time. But so, guys, Father can't hear me, so I have Matushka Trudy asking him in his ear to tell us what made him decide to publish the book of stories and how he chose the stories.
Yes. Every Life Tells a Story came as a way of my work in a hospital. And at the same time, there was I talked with someone around, with a friend of mine here, and he said, we have a lot of stories, so that you heard around. So that was the seed that was planted in order to move on and put the stories together. And the interesting thing is that some of these stories are not all mine. There are 33 authors, 180 stories. Some of them wrote only one story. Some of them wrote 20 or 15 or 5. It depends. But the stories are real stories from their own experience. And I'll give you an example. One mother is trying to, and she's actually she wrote, I think, 10 or 12 stories in the book. Her name is Dana Mateescu, or Dana Mateescu, and her son was not comfortable with the kindergarten, so she thought that she was going to stay for a little bit with the kid in the classroom. Then she started playing with him, entertaining him. The other kids join in, and somehow her own child felt neglected by his mother, because now she was entertaining with everyone. And until the teacher told her, we have a program here. So she had to go. And, apparently, so for there are a lot of stories. Another story is of a mother where the son, they had to go to the school bus. And the son was trying to rescue a bug, she said, "Well, let's put it here." Well, no, it's not safe. Let's put it there. It's not safe. So she suggested, "How about if we threw him up in the air and the bug is going to fly?" It flew. A bird came, picked the bug, and the funny thing is, her son now is in his mid-20s and still reminds his mother about the advice she gave him.
That is excellent, Father. If listeners want to find your book, where do they find it?
Every Life Tells a Story can be found at this time only on Amazon.
Okay, excellent.
And and this is the cover of the book, and it's the idea of the heart came from my daughter. She actually has 4 stories in the book, little ones, is to share the story from the writer's heart to the reader's heart. That's why we have the heart there. And one of her stories is being in a park, and there was an older gentleman there teaching a few boys how to fish. It was a small pond, but with small fishes, and so he taught them how to put the bait and everything, and how to prepare the whole thing. And my daughter said, can I ask him a question? I said, sure, go ahead. So she said, can I use one of these rods to fish? He said, well, it's not ready because you don't have any bait. She said, well, I will try it anyway. So she takes the rod, drops it in, and the thing is, she pulls back a fish. Now, she was at the time, I believe, about 4 or 5. And all these boys were anywhere between 10 and 14, somewhere there. And they could not believe it. And because they couldn't take it, at least the older ones said, oh, beginner's luck, beginner's luck.
Oh, sure.
And the grandfather said, there's no such thing as beginner's luck.
That's beautiful.
It's one of her stories in the book, and I told you about one of mine. And there's again, writers are from. There's someone from Canada, Vesna, who makes vestments, and she has a story about the women who influenced her to make vestments, how she became a vestment maker. And someone from Bangladesh who wrote about her experience as a child in Iraq. Her father was a military attaché to the Bangladeshi embassy in Iraq, and so she remembers the Kabul at the time as a beautiful city with all wonderful things around, and so it's a beautiful collection of stories. So
I love that, Father. I love that it's all kinds of stories too, right? It's not like stories of trauma or stories of childhood, or it's just all of the stories together. You know, it's very like I said, it's a little bit like this show. I think it's a very beautiful thing. As you said, the ministry of listening, right? To learn to listen to one another, to hear each other's story, and then to preserve those stories and pass them around a little bit. It's a beautiful way for all of us to be connected. Well, and I'm so excited because now Father can hear me, so we're in good shape. And we are going to take a very short break. We'll be right back, and I'm going to make Father rewind a little bit and tell us more about this very beautiful wife that he met and married along the way. So we'll be right back. Remember, you can call in if you like, 1-855-AF-RADIO, 1-855-237-2346, and we'll probably be able to hear you if you try. We'll be right back.
Everyday Orthodox with Elisa Bielatich-Davis will be back in a moment. Give Elisa and her guest a call at 855-237-2346. That's 855-AF-RADIO.
Brave, Faithful, and True. Children of the Bible by Catherine Bolger Hyde.
Throughout the history of Israel and the Church, God has worked with people to carry out His will. Sometimes He does this in miraculous ways, such as Moses leading Israel through the Red Sea, or Mary giving virgin birth to Jesus. Sometimes He uses ordinary events to bring about His purposes, and sometimes God grants a person an extra special blessing simply to show His power and His love. In this book, we'll see how God worked in the lives of famous children like Isaac and David, as well as children who are not even named, such as the boy whose lunch fed 5,000 or the girl whom Jesus raised from the dead. As you'll hear in these stories, being young is no obstacle to working with God to carry out His plan.
Now available at store.ancientfaith.com. That is store.ancientfaith.com.
We're back with Everyday Orthodox with Elisa Bielatich-Davis. Do you have a question for Elisa and today's guest? Call in now at 855-237-2346. That's 855-AF-RADIO. Here again is Elisa.
And welcome back to Everyday Orthodox. I'm here tonight with Father Eugen Rosu, but Father, you go by Father Vasily, or what is your, at church, what do they call you?
Father Eugene.
Father Eugene. Okay, there you go.
Yes.
So, but Basil's in there. That's officially.
Yes.
Okay. So Father, you had mentioned, I mean, first of all, I just have to say, every Romanian I ever meet, they're always very smart, always very well educated, even kids, right? Like just more eloquent than the average person. You know, thank God if you weren't going to be able to hear me that it was Romanian on the other side, because you were able to just handle it. But no, but Romanians do tend to be, I think, very well educated people. And I guess that would be a question too. But I noticed also that your wife is, she teaches in a college in Chandler? Is that right? What is, tell me a little bit about her. What's she like?
Sure. Gladly. We've been married for 32 years. 33 years. 33 years. Oops. And we got married in the Church of Holy Three Hierarchs in Iași, which is the first place where the relics of Saint Paraskeva were laid first in 1614, I believe. And so that church has some unique pieces of architecture. The stone outside has different. On each layer has a different design, and those designs do not repeat all the way to the towers. And also, the church was painted in gold. And when the Turks invaded Moldova, they thought the church is made of gold entirely, so they put a fire around the church to melt the gold, and nothing happened. Inside the chandeliers have ostrich eggs, the eggshells.
Oh.
Inside the chandeliers. It's a beautiful church. If you want to check it out, Holy Three Hierarchs in Iași. So that's where we got married, and after we came to the United States, my wife completed a bachelor degree at Robert Morris University in Pittsburgh in computer science and multimedia, a master degree in multimedia from Duquesne University. And now she's working on a doctorate in education. And she is the academic dean at Chandler Gilbert Community College.
Wow. So she's no slouch. She's a very smart woman. How did you two?
She is.
That's
she is from Sibiu, from the city where I was in school, and we met at some mutual friend. A friend of mine knew the friend, and she was there, so we met, and here we are. 30-some years later.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's just lovely. What made you decide to leave Romania and come here?
The initial thing was a lure for doctorate work. And once we arrived here, it didn't happen. So I accepted the ordination, and I like to believe that I already completed 2 dissertations with the 2 parishes that I established. Takes a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of patience and a lot of research, and then it is the work that I did through South University, where I earned my doctorate of ministry. With dissertation in Pastoral Theology based on Gregory of Nazianzus' oration. Second oration is about it's about his return after being ordained. He comes back and explains why he left the parish after ordination. So he was ordained by Christmas and came back around Pascha. and he explains what it takes for a priest to be a good priest, and this is, he coined the expression that priesthood is the science of sciences, where the soul needs to be examined, and you cannot give a diagnosis without a proper examination.
Oh, how lovely! That's neat.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
So that is the foundation of my dissertation for it, with a little bit of research around.
Beautiful. But yeah, I feel like you maybe should have earned a couple of degrees with all of the, as you said, with the mission work is really hard, but I think it's so, I mean, obviously it's a beautiful thing to build up a parish that will be there for years, and praying for the founders and benefactors, and you'll always be included in that. So thanks be to God. But also, yes, I think it's a good experience as a parishioner. I was in a mission for maybe 4 or 5 years, and I feel like I learned so much more about the church. And I was suddenly, they needed me to do work in the parish. And so often we go to a big parish, it's already established. Nobody really needs you. You can kind of skate by, but you go to a mission and they're going to put you to work. And I just feel like it's a very good thing for us to feel that ownership and that investment. And so tell me, you wrote the book about church ministry on a shoestring budget. What kinds of lessons from your mission life did you carry into that book?
The lack of participation. You mentioned about the established churches that have already ways of doing things, or and many times we can hear, and that's the way we do it, right?
Yeah.
And so there is, when you hear that, and that's the way we do it, where that's our way, there is no room for anything else that is new, that is innovative, or has some kind of approach to promote orthodoxy outside of the church's parish walls. And so my idea of this book, of course, it came after years of experience. 30 years ago, I couldn't even write one chapter, one paragraph in this book. But it is the idea of starting things, and most of the time there is another killer line, something like, well, it's beautiful, it's great, but we don't have the money. And so that is a killer. It's just doesn't give room for anything, any growth, any ideas to be brought in, and in many ways the parish council monopolize the activity of the parish. If it's not approved by the parish, it cannot be done. In many other ways. So there are a lot of little flaws in our administrative aspect. But these ideas of ministries are things that many times we already have, and the main thing that we have, the main thing that we all have in every single parish, regardless, we have the talent of the people. We have people who are educated. We are not 110 years back, where a lot of members of the church sign with their thumb. We have members who are educated, who are leaders in their field of profession, and then they cannot implement something in the church because the parish council says so.
Yep. Well, or they even talk about it, and they get, like you say, right? No, this is how we do it. We're all closed down, and we don't want to invite. When you don't invite new ideas, you're uninviting the people that carry those ideas too. You have to be very careful, right? But
exactly.
So how do you change that, though? What do you do?
Well,
you have to get them to read the book.
Yes, yeah. The parish council can be treated in such situations like an unwanted flower in a pot. Imagine that someone gives you a flower in a pot, and it's not necessarily the favorite flower or whatever it is. So, but you don't want to throw it in the garbage either, right? So the only thing you can do is not water it.
It's true.
All right.
Okay.
So
how do I stop watering the parish council?
Very simple. Never ask their opinion.
There you go.
Okay, and small committees can be formed outside of the parish council, and I will give you one example from the book. Parish nurse ministries. Most of the parishes have a nurse. If you do not have a nurse, you can rent a nurse. Okay, you can go to a local hospital. Everyone goes to a medical doctor office, right? So there are nurses everywhere, and you can have a nurse coordinate the parish nurse ministry. Now, the parish nurse ministry is not as it was 100 years ago, where the parish nurse had to go in the community and offer injections, give medication, treat whatever the patients needed treatment with. Because of all the insurance and so forth and lawsuits, that is already abandoned by most of the congregations that had parish nurse ministry as a blown ministry, as a flourished ministry. So in today's context, we can use parish nurse ministry to connect, to educate, and to support. So to connect is to bring people together. So you have, let's say the nurse doesn't have to do all the work. The nurse in the parish has to coordinate all the work. So let's say you have a monthly theme for a whole year set up. So for the month of March, I invite Elisa to speak on fasting, rules of fasting in a healthy way. Okay, not killing the body, but maintaining the spiritual journey for growth and being closer to God. All right. So now you bring that. You can bring a nutritionist if you wish, to give you tips on what is healthy and what is not healthy. Because some years ago, I had 2 cases of people who didn't take the medication in the morning because they had to take the medication with some food. And after communion, they both collapsed. And the church in Wheeling, West Virginia is just literally across the street from the hospital. So we had the ambulance twice at our church to pick up the patient because they didn't take the medication. So you can still fast and yet have a fruitful spiritual journey. So you can have support groups. Support groups can be grieving groups, cancer survivor, whatever the needs of the communities are. Educate through little pamphlets, maybe add a page to the parish's web page to inform people about at least the resources. Where can you find the resources on certain topics? So people can go in and find out. So this is a parish nurse ministry. How much money do you need? Absolutely nothing. How much space do you need? No space needed, because the church already, each church has some classes, social hall, and you can use only that during the week, any time of the week. Okay,
that's excellent, and it involves everyone, right? It's different people in the parish will have different needs, but it'll bring all of them together. And
it's not only for the parishioners, and it's not limited to. Yeah. This is the idea, to bring the community inside the parish, to let them know who you are and what you are about. Have loosely some leaflets, some pamphlets around. Show them the church casually. Exactly. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. When you visit someone for the first time, usually they like to show you the house.
Yeah.
so why can't we show our own house? This is our house. So this is one of the idea, and the idea is not to spend money. The idea is to bring people in church,
That's right.
expose orthodoxy to the community at large.
I love that, Father. And I think too that one thing I've heard someone, and I don't know who to credit this to, but they had said, ask yourself, if your parish were to disappear tomorrow, would the city miss you? Would the surrounding community even notice? Because so often we are very inward focused and we're concerned about our people in our parish and we're not concerned about the people around. But to invite them in, right? Like if this is the place where they come to a support group, or if this is the place where they come to learn something or to find something out, then they will miss you when you're gone. Then you are a part of the community. And we should be as Christians. That's an important part of being a Christian, even if they don't all become Orthodox, right? Even if they just have heard about Orthodoxy, that's great because no one here has heard about us, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the purpose for it is, first of all, to make ourselves known to the community. And then it's not going to happen overnight. This is not going to happen overnight, but there are a lot of people looking for the true church, for the church of the Bible. And if we do not open our doors to them, they will never find out that we are in their neighborhood. We are not as, let's say, as noisy as they used to be 100 years ago, because 100 years ago, they used to have all sorts of events at the church. So the church became a place where social functions took place mostly every week or every month. There was some event. And nowadays we are very quiet. We go in, we go out and come back next week, and that's about all. Yeah. And so that noise in the neighborhood is gone. And so people don't know who we are and what we are about. And most, I've read in a recent study somewhere that orthodoxy is seen primarily as an immigrant faith, only for the immigrants. So we don't have anything to do because we are Americans. We don't mix with them because they are immigrants, and that is where we can adjust things around.
Absolutely. And some of that is our fault because some of us feel that way. And then, I know when I was first coming around, every once in a while, people be like, well, why are you here? You're an American. What are you doing here? And they're so surprised, right? It's as if we don't have something of great value to share, but we really do. And I know here in Texas, Father, there are so many people interested in Orthodoxy. It's fascinating because it's a lot of Baptists here, a lot of Protestants. But they're looking, they're seeking something. And we do, we open up our church for church tours, and we almost always have people who come back for liturgy and keep coming back and asking questions, thank God. But it's true that we can be very quick to assume that people won't be interested, but they really are interested, and people are looking for something, and we have it. So it would be terrible not to share it, right? So I love those ideas, though, Father, because they're so
This is my book, Every Life, Church Ministries on a Shoestring Budget, and I provide services for all churches. If they are interested in contacting me, I can do a full evaluation of the parish and of their neighborhood in order to implement and basically to do a thorough analysis of the talents that exist in the parish, the resources that exist in the parish, and the resources that are outside of the parish, and match and see. And I suggest 3 or 4 ministries that can be implemented immediately within the first 6 months, and then follow up with them. So I don't just suggest buy the book and figure it out. Though each ministry that I listed has a self-evaluation, so the readers can figure out, okay, we have so much money, we have so much space, we have this, would this work for us? But if they need more, I am available to provide for them and offer them help to figure out a better way to implement it faster.
That's beautiful, Father. I think there are a lot of Orthodox parishes, especially, in places where maybe industries are closing down and the kids are moving away and things like that, where the parishes are getting smaller and it's not clear what to do next, right? And so, if you're in a parish like that and you need some help with it, get in touch with Father Eugene, because
Yes,
there
absolutely.
may very well be some very good things that you can do to open your doors and start inviting people inside. That's really neat, Father. I love that you do that. And I know that people can find you if you want information on getting some advice from Father. Go to, it's his name, Eugen Rosu. How am I saying it, Father? I'm probably saying it wrong, so you say it.
If you want me to say it in Romanian, it's eugenrosu.com.
Nice. Eugen. I like that. Eugen. It's beautiful. But it's spelled EUGEN with no E at the end. ROSU. And so .com. And so you can go right there and find it. And of course, you'll see his name on this episode. So it's going to be easier for you.
Church Ministries on a Shoestring Budget is available on Amazon as well as Barnes & Nobles.
That's perfect. That's great. So, Father, you've only written 2 books. Have we missed any of them? Because these are good books. I like them. So if there's another, I want to know.
No, the third one is I'm polishing it now. It's the ultimate fundraiser. One event that doesn't involve funds from the parish.
Oh, that's a plus right there.
Yeah.
No investment.
No investment, very little. If it is, it's very little, and can bring anywhere from 9,000 to 45,000 for about 3 or 4 hours in one day.
Okay, I'm going to need to read the book. Is it out there already? Or are you working on it right now?
I'm still polishing it now to have it available, and hopefully by the end of March I will have out 90 day. It's a journal, 90-day journal, 90-day goal journal. So it's it's not much. My main contribution is to bring inspiring quotations from the church fathers and from the scripture.
Beautiful. That sounds great, though. I think it sounds wonderful. That's fantastic, Father. Okay, well then I'm going to watch for that one too, so that I can find out the secret.
I will keep in touch with you.
Excellent. Please do, Father. That's fantastic. But so, tell me a little bit more about your life now in Chandler, in Arizona. How is it? How do you like Chandler? Is it just because you've lived all over now? Obviously Romania and then Pittsburgh.
Yes.
What do you think? How do you like
it?
Well,
we started our life in Los Angeles, and then moved to Palm Springs, California, and then moved to Pennsylvania, Elwood City, Pittsburgh, and then from there to Warren, Ohio, and Kenton, Ohio. And Kenton, Ohio is the birthplace of our daughter Anna Maria. She is 12 years old. She's a 6th grader. She loves science. She loves writing. She loves literature. And she works on her own novel at this point.
Oh, she's a good combination of her mother and her father, isn't she?
Yes.
Writing like
absolutely.
You, loving science like Mom.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
How's she coming along on the novel? Is it going well?
She is doing well. We set up a plan to write for at least 10 minutes every day, and she's doing that, and she's excited about. She just talked last Saturday morning. The city had a big science fair in the city park, and she met a young woman, 23-year-old, newly graduate from Arizona State University. And the two of them connected immediately. It was an instant connection, and they talked about, and her new friend encouraged her to keep writing, and it's a great story and all of that. So it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story, and she loves it. She wants to write it. So.
Well, and it's
but
good that you're training her, right, a little bit every day, right? Like you're teaching her that perseverance and how to, if you have a big project you want to do, you have to do it a little bit at a time. You can't get frustrated that it's not finished yet. Just keep going. That's fantastic, Father. I love that.
Yeah, we love Arizona. Chandler is the newest city in the Valley of the Sun. It was registered, I believe, in 2010 as a city.
Oh, wow.
And now has 256,000 people.
That's so fast. That's a fast-growing city.
Yes.
Is that it's right near Phoenix? Is that right, Chandler? Where is it exactly?
No, we are towards the outskirts of Maricopa County. We are in the southeast part of Phoenix. Yeah.
Wow, it's growing. Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yes.
That's amazing. Yes. Okay, and your parish there, is it an OCA parish? No, you said Greek.
No,
you switched over to the Greek.
Greek Archdiocese. I'm traveling to Flagstaff. The Flagstaff parish, though, has about 35 years of existence. Went from the Antiochians to the Greek Archdiocese. And it's a small parish, settled at 7,000 feet. Is the only place where Christians humbly look down at their fellow believers.
It's beautiful in Flagstaff too.
It's a Flagstaff joke. But it's a beautiful area because we still have Sedona not far from Flagstaff. We have Williams and Winslow around, and people are coming.
Take a quick train ride right up to the Great Canyon.
Yes.
The Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon. Yes.
Grand Canyon.
And it's a beautiful place. We started now a introduction to Orthodoxy class. Orthodoxy 101, and it is led by a student at St. Stephen program. She works for the Northern Arizona University and takes this program with St. Stephen course. And I am the designated supervisor, so I keep track of everything what is going on, and so far it's going well, and the attendance is good. We have enough interest in Orthodoxy in the area. We are the only Orthodox church in that area.
That's nice, isn't it? That's really nice.
Yes, it is. Yes,
reach out to everyone and see who you can bring in and see who you can share the faith with.
Sure.
Thank God.
Sure.
Well, lucky Flagstaff. That's fantastic. That's beautiful, Father. Well, great.
We always have visitors because Grand Canyon brings a lot of people.
Yes, because Flagstaff is beautiful.
And probably we are the only church, and I'm not trying now to brag, okay? We are the only church that we can have the same number of people at communion as we had at the beginning of the Paschal service.
Nice.
Nobody leaves.
They stay. See?
Exactly.
That takes years of teaching to get them to stay.
Not only that, but when you travel 1 hour or an hour and a half to be at the church, you don't want to leave after 15 minutes.
That's right. It's not really worth it to just come get the lampada and go.
Exactly.
Right? But no, Thank God. Thank God. I'm always amazed when people leave right before liturgy for Pascha, because it's the best liturgy of the year. You got to stay. You got to stay. There's nothing like having liturgy in the middle of the night. It's wonderful. Well, Father, thank you so much. And I just want to remind everyone, the books are Every Life Tells a Story. And the 90-Day Gold Journal is not out yet, but it'll be out maybe next month. And, of course, Church Ministries on a Shoestring Budget. Father, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And I'm delighted that this all worked out despite our technical difficulties. And it was just wonderful.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for this opportunity to share with you and your audience about my books and about myself and my ministry. And I wish you well, and I pray that you will continue to promote Orthodoxy, not only among Orthodox, but among those who are seeking the true faith.
God willing, God willing. Thank you so much, Father. We really appreciate it. And I'll see you when I bring my kids to the Grand Canyon. We'll stop in.
Absolutely. I look forward to meet you there.
Excellent. And thank you to our audience. Thank you for joining us. Come back next Sunday night. We'll meet another Everyday Orthodox Christian. Good night.